as we get known and people join us over their lunch break, we want you to send us questions, ask us questions, and engage with us properly. And we've got Patsy who sent us a message, and she basically said we need more independent journalists, those that can reach the public, and many of the public have lost trust in some of the regular news outlets like the BBC. I think that's a pretty fair analogy. I don't think that's a criticism necessarily of individual reporters. I think it's because generally national news is being trusted less than regional news.
The BBC, has obviously lost a lot of trust, through a number of situations. The Jimmy Savile situation, Cliff Richard, and more recently, obviously, with the Princess Diana, falsifying the
Martin Bashir situation.
Yeah, exactly, Martin Bashir. So I think that and you only have to go on social media and look at the comments underneath about the BBC to see that people have lost trust in the BBC. They've and so that's why more and more people, I think, are turning to our local news, because they know that they can trust us, and rightly so, because that's what we work to do every single day.
I think the problem with all of the national outlets is that from a trust level, they've all had certain things that have gone wrong for them, and some of that is about an eagerness to be the first. I mean, I think one of the things that I often say to people when I'm talking to journalists is just be really careful. You might want to be the first, but if you get it wrong, you will be remembered. Just take a little bit of time and get it right and get that information out there. And I think I saw it after Savile. There was this real desire from outlets to be the first to break the next story. And we saw it with BBC Newsnight when they went after McAlpine. I remember in the afternoon of head of broadcast, I remember the reporter talking to me and said, "Look, Mark, we've got this story, we're going to go with it." And I said, "Are you sure it's right?" I said, there's just some stuff doesn't seem to add up and doesn't connect with what I've been dealing with, but it just doesn't seem to connect. "Oh, yeah, no, we're sure, we're certain." Anyway, of course, it broadcast, and then it transpires that they completely got the wrong person. And that's about journalism being, knowing their trade, but also being in a position where they've done the groundwork. And I think it's very easy to cut corners in journalism. And of course, when you get it wrong, you can get it massively wrong. I mean, I know when we head of broadcast of Savile, I remember talking to Leslie, my producer, and I said to her, "Look, if this doesn't hit big and if this doesn't go, and the public don't come on our side, we will probably never work in journalism again. We'll certainly be never making, high-profile television programs." And thankfully, the public did come on board. It stayed on the front pages for 41 consecutive days, and it was a huge story. But it could have all gone wrong. And I think, the highs in journalism are massive. I mean, Toby, you know that as a journalist, when you get a story and you put it out there, the highs are massive, but the lows are very low as well.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that. I mean, when I started out, there was the worst thing was getting hold of the story and then knowing that because we didn't have the internet, having to sit on it for a week, up to a week sometimes.
Yeah.
Before you're publishing it, and every day you're hoping that your competitor or the BBC or someone else hasn't got the story. And now that the problem is there is this huge rush because news is instant, and if you do get it wrong, as you say, you're stuffed, and it was all about being first, and best, but now it's very much we've got to be, we want to be first, but we need to be best. And sometimes, as you say, the first people to break the story could have upset the people involved in the story, and then that's our opportunity really to go in and smooth things over and then try and get it done in a more professional way. And I think that's that is the issue now, as you say, is about getting it right, and you know, and particularly the journalism that we're going to be doing at Newsquest. We can't afford to get that wrong, but we can take our time and make sure that we've got it right.